Hello, everyone. So we will be starting with our health profession student panel. So if you all are able to, please come back to the call if you all went somewhere else. All right, perfect. So again, welcome. We are going to start with the health profession student panel. I will be introducing myself. So I am a second year pre-health ambassador. My name is Lady, and I'm joined today by my other pre-health ambassador, Angelina. Angelina, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Angelina. This is my second year doing pre-health ambassadors with everyone.
All right, perfect. So for this panel, as I said, we are going to have the health profession student panel, and we are joined by 7 wonderful and accomplished students in the health professions field. So thank you so much for accepting this invitation and being here with us. I will put their names in the chat for all of you to see. And as I introduce, or as I say all of their names individually, for the speakers or for our panelists, if you all could unmute yourselves and introduce yourselves, that would be perfect as well. All right, so first up, we have Sarah Mary. Sarah, are you in the call with us?
Hi, Lady, yeah. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you guys. Oh, Lady, I'm sorry. Did you want us to like say what we are? I didn't know if that was going to be dropped in the chat or not.
Yes, so I briefly put your position right now as a health profession student in the chat, but if you can go ahead and introduce yourself briefly, that would be perfect.
Sorry, I'm on my phone sending it to the chat. My name is Sarah. I'm a second year medical student at U of A College of Medicine, Tucson. If you guys have any questions about the med school application process or any undergrad opportunities, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Sarah. Next up, we have Jackie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jackie Tan, and I am a second year pharmacy student at the University of Arizona. I did my undergrad at U of A. I majored in physiology and minored in Spanish. So if you have any questions about that or about pharmacy school, let me know as well.
Thank you, Jackie. Then we have Nikki Gonzalez.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikki. I am a third year student at NEU's occupational therapy program. I completed my undergrad degree at GCU, and I got my bachelor's in exercise science, emphasis in sports performance. And my previous rotation was in a pediatric outpatient clinic, and the rotation I'm in right now is with the VA with a very unique program called home-based primary care. So if you have any questions about that too, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Nikki. We have Justine Danielson.
Hi, everyone. My name is Justine. I am currently a first year PA student at Campbell University in North Carolina. I also completed my undergraduate at University of Arizona in December of 2020, majoring in physiology and minoring in psychology. I also participated in a lot of clubs and opportunities at U of A. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Justine. Then we have Christina Engelhardt.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christiana. I'm a third year student at the Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine in Tempe, Arizona. I completed my undergrad at the University of Connecticut with a bachelor's in nutritional biochemistry. So if you have any questions about naturopathic medicine, let me know.
Thank you. We have Marco Antonio Vasquez.
Hey everyone, I'm a first year in physical therapy school here in Northeastern in Boston. I also graduated from the University of Arizona in May 2021. My majors were nutritional science and my minors was psychology.
Okay, awesome. Thank you to everybody who introduced themselves and our panelists. Cool. So we're gonna go ahead.
Actually, I think we have one more person, Angelina. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, Malia Lozano.
Hi, sorry. Um, Hi, everyone. I'm a first year dental student at UCLA, and I graduated from the University of Arizona in May 2020. I was a care health and society major, and I was also a public health minor and a pre-health minor. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, so we have some questions lined up, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll get those questions answered. So we do have a lot of panelists for this panel. So if only a couple people can answer every question, so we just give time for everybody to talk, that'd be great. So the first question is, why did you choose this profession and did you consider others? Whoever would like to answer that, please feel free to do so.
I can jump in. So I actually considered quite a few professions. I knew I either wanted to work with athletes or work with children. I was an athlete all my life, but then my younger brother, he's 2 years younger than me, but he also has Down syndrome. So I was really exposed to that therapeutic world early on in my life. And so I kind of understood that there was something within me that wanted to do a therapeutic profession. And but I did a lot of internships and shadowing to help me make my decision. My mom was also a speech therapist, so for the longest time I was like, maybe I'll be a speech therapist. But you know, I realized that that wasn't the career for me. I tried out athletic training. It was busy and not the kind of lifestyle that I personally wanted for my future. And then considered physical therapy. But when I shadowed an occupational therapist in a school district, I absolutely fell in love with it. And I knew it would be that job that isn't necessarily, doesn't feel like a job. So that's when I made my decision.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Nikki. Is there anyone else who would like to answer that question?
I can answer. So I kind of knew that I wanted to go into dentistry, but definitely was solidified when I started shadowing, which is something that I definitely recommend, is shadowing anything and any, like, just to solidify that, because you never know, you like it until you're like there and you're experiencing it. I also did like a mission trip and got to shadow dentists like abroad, and that was also what definitely solidified for that I definitely wanted to go into dentistry for me.
Awesome. Thank you for those answers, guys. Okay, so the next question that I have is that did you get in your first time? If not, what was your backup plan?
I could answer that question. For me, originally, I had planned to take a gap year. I wasn't expecting much. I didn't think my application was probably the best. I had high expectations of having like high GPA, high shadowing hours, and basically everything. So right before applications, I was planning on taking a gap year, but how Josie told me and a few people motivated me to like apply to a few schools to just see where I stand and just to like understand like the application process. And I applied to 4 schools. I got into 2 schools. So it was more of like a decision that I wasn't really expecting. And I know a lot of some students like myself at that time plan on taking a gap year, but I recommend actually trying out some other applications. Even if you don't get in, you can always reapply the next year. But like how that happened with me was like I applied and got accepted. So like here I am, like right after I graduated, I started my PT program here in Boston.
Awesome, thank you. Would someone else like to go?
I can go. So I also got it, well, I got in on my first try, first application cycle. And I guess my plan, if I weren't to get in, was to continue to do patient care hours and kind of develop maybe parts of my application that I felt weren't strong. But I also do suggest if you are financially able to apply to a couple of schools and see where you stand, but also kind of take a step back and look at the parts of your application that you could, work towards. And if you do end up taking a gap year or you don't get in your next cycle, that's okay. It happens to a lot of people. But what I recommend is definitely take a look at yourself and look at your application and see where you can improve and grow. And that's where you can talk about that in the next application cycle, is that you took that year and you grew from it, and you can be a better graduate student at that point.
Awesome. Is there any one of our panelists who actually didn't get in on the first try and then took some time off and did that to the application? Just curious. No? Awesome. Well, good job, guys. That's really cool. Okay. Okay, so my next question is, did you take a gap year or more, or what made you decide to not take a gap year if you did not?
I can go and answer that question. I kind of knew that I did not want to take a gap year from the start. So I applied to all my graduate programs my senior year of college. I kind of just wanted to get through school and graduate as soon as possible. I mean, if you're financially able to do that, I would recommend it. And if you have like the mental stamina to keep going with school, I would recommend it because you kind of get done earlier and then you get to start your career earlier. But if you get rejected or you just need some time off from school, then definitely take a gap year and start working and work on your extracurriculars. But yeah, I definitely recommend just going straight towards school and finishing it as soon as possible.
So I actually took a gap year, and I took a 1-year gap year, and I'm glad that I did. I think if I wasn't the strongest applicant starting out, so I knew that I needed that extra year to like get more experience, and I actually worked in the dentist office, so that actually helped me too. So I think having that gap year to become the best applicant that I could be really helped me. And it was nice having like a little break from school, but then I do understand, like, I also wish that I went right into school, because I think like halfway through my gap year, I was like, okay, like I'm ready to be back in school. I'm overworking. So it's definitely like up to you, like how you feel like about like going straight into school and also like your application.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, so for my next question, it is, what challenges did you encounter when applying to professional school?
I can jump into this one too. So while I was an undergrad, this might have been the middle of my junior year, I realized that the undergrad degree program that I was in was not covering any of the prereqs that I needed to get into occupational therapy school. So what kind of happened was that I basically put my future in the hands of my advisor. When I told him, I want to do occupational therapy school, put me in whatever program that'll get me there. By my junior year, I realized I had only covered 2 or 3 prereqs, and that was from the school that I transferred from. So my advice in that is, if you know exactly what you want, take a hold of your own path and don't let somebody else take over your future, right? So what ended up happening to me is that I ended up having to take a gap year so I can get the rest of my prereqs in order to apply to school as soon as I could to get into an OT program. It worked out just fine, and I wouldn't change anything because I think my background in exercise science has been very beneficial to being in this program and having a different approach to some of the aspects. But I could have saved some time as well as money if I had looked into that a lot earlier and taken a hold of my own tracks. So that's my advice on that.
I can, oh, okay, or I can
Oh, I was
go
gonna-
next. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Or
I'll just okay, I'll
You can
just
go ahead.
answer quickly. So kind of to add on to that, just as your counselor doesn't really explain what classes you should take and exactly how to, you know, go down the right program and fulfill the credits needed to, you know, apply to whatever graduate school you want to go to. There's not really too much guidance in like the things that you need besides just those classes. So for example, I mean, you want to apply to medical school, you have to get the prereqs, but you also have to, you know, take the MCAT and do the shadowing and get the volunteer experiences, do research. There's just a huge checklist of things that you have to do. And no one really tells you that. You kind of have to make connections with other people and figure out what to do on your own. So that's what I experienced, because going in, I knew that I wanted to apply to medical school by the time I was graduating. But then, you know, who's going to tell you that? So definitely making connections with peers in your program, in your major, and a lot of self-research online is definitely what I had to do.
Awesome. I know, Jackie, you were going to talk. Did you have anything else to add to that?
Just to make sure to repeat the question, it was what barriers or what we learned during the application process?
Yeah, basically. It was what challenges did you encounter when applying to professional school?
Okay. So my challenge was more so of like a personal challenge, I guess, like trying to dig deep into why I wanted to go into pharmacy school. And I remember attending a session like this before when I was in undergrad, and a current pharmacy student at the time said his biggest challenge was trying to figure out why he wanted to go into pharmacy school in the first place. And that may seem like really simple or like, oh, that should be an obvious answer. But for him, and I felt the same way, like very one-track mind. Like I've always thought of pharmacy in the back of my head. And then like when actually applying, I was sitting there trying to answer the like the prompt questions, like why do I want to go into pharmacy? And so I recommend really sitting and taking a deep look at yourself, at what you want, and also researching whatever profession you want to go into, and looking up good aspects of it, bad aspects of it, just reading as much as you can, and obviously getting involved as much as you can with whatever professions you're interested in, so that you can get a fuller picture as to why you want to dedicate yourself to a certain profession, a certain school, and do your research in that way, and then try to get all of those experiences so that you can make the best informed decision of why you would want to go into a school for the next 2 years, the next 3-4 years, even more so with residency. That way you're confident when you are applying, and it'll make the whole application process a whole lot easier. Because when I was applying for pharmacy school, I wasn't that confident, I guess, in that I was like, okay, yes, I want to dedicate the next 4 years of my life to this. It was sort of just like, I've been thinking I want to do pharmacy, but do I actually really want to do it? So the whole summer before I applied, I just, as much as possible, tried to think on the different reasons why I wanted to go into it. And then that made the application process easier, so that I felt confident in not only the prompt questions, but also excited to talk about why I wanted to go into pharmacy in the interview as well. So even though it seems simple, just really try to figure out why you want to go into what profession you're looking forward to.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. My next question is there anything you regret or something you wish you did in your undergraduate career, or maybe something you did before you applied to professional school that maybe would have helped your application or would have gotten you more experience?
I can answer this. So I stayed on the call and listened to the faculty, getting to know faculty panel. And one of my biggest regrets is not getting to know faculty on a personal and deeper level. Even though I preceptored for 2 classes in my undergrad, I still didn't get to know those professors as deeply as I would have liked to. And even now in school, I'm still not making those connections with professors. So that's something, even after undergrad, that I'm struggling with. And so I recommend preceptoring or TA or SI sessions. I remember that was a thing. Just getting involved and going to office hours and getting to know faculty. I really wish I did that. And then also I wish I learned how to take really good notes. Like I thought how I took notes in undergrad, I thought worked, but then now I feel like, oh, well, I guess my recommendation is to make your own little questions when taking notes, so that by the time you're done with a lecture or a lesson, you have all of these little practice questions and you essentially made your own little quiz or test yourself. So that's a good way to help with like critical thinking and recalling as well.
I wish that I would have done some more shadowing during my first couple years, more like my freshman and sophomore year. Because at that point, I already knew that I wanted to do occupational therapy. And I really didn't start my shadowing and patient contact hours until I would say more of my senior year. And I had plenty of time to do that before then. But I'm one of those people that I get really anxious about things that I need to do. And so instead of getting it done right away, I put it off to the last minute. So I'm very much a procrastinator. But once I started doing that, I realized there was nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to be nervous about. It was just shadowing and getting to know the profession and making sure that that's really something I wanted to do. So the sooner you do that stuff, the better.
Awesome. Thank you for those answers. So we have a question from the chat. And it is, how would you recommend students get involved with shadowing healthcare professionals?
I could answer that one. The first thing I would recommend is actually like taking advantage of like the internships that your advisors like let you guys know about. So for me, like Josie let me know about the summer health professions program, and that really like helped me like decide that I wanted to do physical therapy, because in that program, like I went to Columbia University on a 6-week internship, all paid for. They literally introduced me to physical therapy, and ever since like that moment, I fell in love with it. So on my way back, I decided to just like go from physical therapy like offices, outpatients, like from door to door, just giving them my resume, asking that I wanted to shadow, I wanted to get involved. And like literally like within a week, I got like 5 calls back from the offices. So you just got to like expose yourself to them, like show that you're motivated, show that you really want to be in like in the profession that you're looking for. And then like opportunities will come and show. And even like in the summer health professions program, like they give you some shadowing hours. Like for me, when I went to Columbia, I got some different like types of shadowing hours in terms of like inpatient, cardiopulmonary, and everything. So like that just like broadened my options.
For me, when I was in Tucson, I literally looked up on Yelp dentists in my areas or doctors in my area and literally just went through and emailed every single one introducing myself and kind of like, hey, can I come shadow you? Only like a few people replied to me, but like at least like some people did. So just email as many people in your area as you can, because a lot of them are willing to help you out, definitely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. So it actually is the end of our panel. Thank you for everyone who came today and who gave our students some advice. We will now take a 5-minute break, and we will start at 11:35 for our admissions panel. Thank you.